Oh, what is up? Welcome to Bringing the Backups. I'm your host, Erick Hellwig. On the show today, we're talking with comedian, writer, director, and now podcaster Joe Schiappa. You can catch his new show, Pay or Request, a very funny comedy show he hosts with Matt Hobby. Anywhere podcasts are listened to. We're also talking about Blake Bortles. He's our backup, and backup Blake Bortles. This man deserves his due. He's been wronged. We're going to get into it. If you'd like to call into the show, as always, the phone number here, 323-716-6072. Again, that number, 323-716-6072. Leave me a question, a comment, an insult. Dealer's choice. Just don't call my wife a cunt, and I'll put it on the show. Tickets are also on sale at erickhellwig.com for some upcoming stand-up dates. Saturday, February 5th at Flappers Comedy Club. That is a discounted ticket on my website. On Saturday, February 12th, I'm in the U.S. Comedy Contest at the Comedy Chateau in North Hollywood. And on Saturday, February 19th, I'm in Santa Barbara for a good comedy show. All those tickets available at my website, erickhellwig.com. No tickets yet for the Aloha Comedy Festival, but it will be in Hawaii, in Honolulu, February 24th, 25th, 26th. For 4 separate dates. Any other local shows in LA you'd like to see me at? Follow me at Erick Hellwig on Instagram and Twitter. Please, if you have not yet, rate this show 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It's a huge help. Also, you can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/Erick Hellwig. That's all the business. Enjoy the show.
Grab your gear and lace it up. Helmets on and cup your nuts. It's that time, you know what's up. Here we go, bring in the backup. Don't think twice, bring in the backups.
Oh, welcome in to Bringing the Backups episode. Who fucking knows? But it is a big episode today because, man, there's been a lot of football. Oh, my God. It's actually going to be a football podcast today. There's too much shit to talk about. Yeah, I'll tell you what. This is a bi-weekly podcast because, I have a job. And none of you buy shit on the merch page. So I got to, do this in between taking care of the biz. But I tell you, I wish it was a weekly show during the playoffs because playoffs, that was last year. That was actually last week's playoffs. That was last week's, what do you call it? Clip, little soundbite. I got a new one this week. And this one is in tribute to last week. We had Lucas Hazlitt on the show. 2 weeks ago, I should say. Lucas Hazlitt was on the show. He's a big 49ers fan. Who knows where this is from?
Can't do it.
Oh, yeah. I love that quote. It's one of my favorites.
Can't do it.
It is highly underrated. Mike Singletary is up. He's a playoff machine. Let me tell you, as far as wasting time goes on this podcast,
can't do it.
I got too much stuff to get to, all right? I can't do it. Can't do it. It is a busy podcast, all right? Blake Bortles is one of my all-time favorite backups. This man got royally fucked. And we're getting into it, all right? Hashtag free Blake Bortles. You guys want to get this shit started, huh? Let's build this on social media, okay? Twitter, Instagram. Can we get it trending? Hashtag free Blake Bortles. We're going to be talking about Blake Bortles on the podcast. Later, we'll be chatting with a very funny comedian, Joe Schiappa. We'll get there. But look, I don't know. We should, what do you want to do? You want to talk about the quarterback first? You want to talk about my life first? You want to talk about the NFL first? I feel like we can get into the NFL. I mean, God damn, there have been some good games. I mean, look, that weekend of football. Let me say this. We'll talk about the games, okay? But I host a football podcast. I missed all 4 games, not the conference championship, but the the divisional. What is it? It's the wild card divisional championship. I missed the divisional games. Bengals, Titans, Niners, Packers, Rams, Bucks, Bills, Chiefs. I host a comedy podcast about football. I missed all 4 games. Now, for good reason, okay? Like the first, I should say the first 2 games on Saturday was for good reason. I was in Idaho doing some shows, and I had a great time at those shows. Opened up for Bent Washburn. Alvin Williams opened up the show. 2 very funny comedians. I mean, Bent was just incredible. I feel like I became a better comic just watching him 2 consecutive shows do almost an hour. I mean, you guys have probably seen him on Conan. He is hilarious. It was great to open up for him. Hope I did my part in the room. I don't know. People were laughing. People were having a good time. Got a little drunk for the second show. Oops. I'll get better at moderating my alcohol when I'm on the road next time. I don't know what to say. With this celiac stuff, if they don't have a gluten-free beer, I just go with the whiskey, and that's probably a mistake when you got a 6 o'clock and a 9 o'clock and an hour and a half to kill before the 9 o'clock. That was not good. So my bad, 9 o'clock audience, but whatever. You guys were pretty drunk too, so we had a good time. Anyway, Moscow, Idaho. That was awesome. Thank you very much. I want to thank Mike O'Brien for putting together the show as well. He puts up an awesome show. I think it's called Moscow Comedy Night. But a friend of mine, Pete Jr., I don't mind saying his name. He's a comic. He wants the press. Pete Jr. He went ahead and recommended me to the producer for the show, Mike. Went up and did it. I had an absolute blast. But those shows on Saturday meant that I missed the games, which sucks, but if I'm going to miss football, like to get my career moving, that's something I just got to do. I can't get that mad that I missed those games. I watched the highlights, but what I had is because I had no shows on Sunday, so I had an early flight out on Sunday out of Idaho from this little airport that looks like I fucking built it. And it was supposed to connect in Seattle, get me down to LA by 11 a.m. I was going to be at home watching football all day Sunday. So I wasn't going to miss Rams, Bucks, Bills, Chiefs. Well, here's what happened. I'm on one of those like little planes, like it looks like from the movie Major League, where the propeller's outside the wheel. Like if you just take one wrong step, you're going to get decapitated trying to put your fucking luggage on the plane. So it's like the hanging propeller plane. Like I'm going into fucking Nam. And we try to land in Seattle twice. They try to land the plane and can't do it because of the fog. So it's the creepiest feeling when the plane goes down, hovers above the runway, and then speeds up and takes off. You really, I don't know. Like you start to question whether or not, this atheism is a good idea. I mean, not a fun flight out of Idaho. So they reroute us to, I think we were somewhere in Oregon. I don't even know where we were in Oregon, some airport. And we wait around for 4 hours in the airport. No game on, so I'm missing the game. And then they cancel the flight. Then I got to book a new plane from this airport in Oregon down to San Francisco, connect in San Francisco, come to LA. I didn't get home till like 8 o'clock at night? It was at the end of the Bills-Chiefs game. So I'm walking through the airport. My wife's waiting to pick me up at the airport. And there's a dude watching the game on his phone. And so I'm with this guy. We're just going to the escalator. I'm like, bro, can I just kind of watch over your shoulder? He's like, yeah, man. So we watch the Bills go down and score with 13 seconds on the phone. I'm like, oh, we're screaming. We're like, oh, my God, it was such a crazy game. And I was catching the game walking through the airport from different TV to different TV. I'm catching the plays. I see Mahomes with the big touchdown. I see the Bills come back. I saw the Chiefs drive before that. But it was all broken up. And with 13 seconds left, I'm like, I see my wife waiting in the car. I'm like, okay, I can't keep her waiting. I'm like, there's 13 seconds. What's going to happen? The game's over. Get in the car, go get tacos. While we're at tacos, my wife goes, oh, man. Poor Bills fans. And I was like, what? Look at my phone. The fucking Chiefs came back with 13 seconds? Are you kidding me? I missed it? Oh, my God. Fuck this little flight I took out of Idaho, man. It screwed everything. I mean, if I was those pilots, I would have been like, nut up and land in the fog, bro. It's worth it. Well, we're going to have a little bumpy. We're going to land bumpy. I'm trying to make the games. Anyway, so I missed like the greatest weekend in football history according to every fucking person. There's like all these like old geezers on football shows I watch, and they're like, in my years, I've never seen. I'm like, shut up. We get it. I missed it. Fucking missed every minute of all 4 games. Are you kidding me? The greatest. It's insane. Anyway, I just needed to complain about that. But I did have a great time in Idaho. I'm glad I spent the weekend there. And again, thanks to Bent Washburn, Alvin Williams, and then the producer, Mike O'Brien, for putting me on. Hopefully more of that, guys. I want more of that paid gigs out of the fucking New York and LA. That's all I want in this life. Everything else is gravy. Getting to perform for the good people of Idaho. I went to an Idaho Vandals game. They got a $50 million stadium. Their basketball team is like 2-30. I swear to God, like it was cool. The producer of the show hooked us up, so we were in the VIP for the first half. The stadium, the arena, is amazing in Idaho. And then we got floor seats for the second half. It was a close game. They were playing Sac State. I mean, there's Sacramento State, but Sac State is so much more hilarious to say. And they won. They was one of their 2 victories in the season. They won. But I swear to God, I'm looking at the Vandals players. I've never been courtside. I've always assumed I would feel dwarfed by the players, but I was looking at the point guards. I think I can D these guys up. They're not very good. Sorry, Idaho Vandals, but, I mean, holy shit, the team sucks. But they're not going to suck for long because that arena, I mean, they're going to really start dominating the Big Sky Conference. I mean, look out. Winthrop. I don't know if Winthrop is in that. I don't even know where the fuck Winthrop is. All I know is every year when the tournament starts, I'm like, where is Oral Roberts? That's hilarious. A religious school named Oral Roberts. I mean, come on, it's funny. If there was like a school for Jesuit priests called Anal Alley, you'd be laughing your ass off too. They're called Oral Roberts, people. That's comedy. Sometimes the jokes just tell themselves, all right? Anyway. That was 2 weekends ago. I was glad but this weekend I was like, I canceled shit. I was like, I'm watching every minute of the games. They were still great games. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I missed my father's funeral. No, I'm kidding. All I had to do was get a COVID test over the weekend, which, oh my God, I take those things like a bitch, but got to make sure I don't have COVID so I can, I had to get like a fucking little surgery thing going on this, tomorrow, actually. Well, I should say the day this comes out on Tuesday, I'll be put under by the doctors. My wife would be horrified that I'm giving out medical information. I don't know, isn't that what everybody's doing now? I'm vaccinated, like just saying what they do with their bodies. I don't know. Fine. I'm having a doctor stick a tube down my throat to make sure that my celiac diet has helped my intestine. All right, that's what I'm doing. They knock you out. They put like a ring thing in your mouth, like you're a gimp, like, and then they knock you out, and then they put a tube down your throat, and then you're like, they look at your insides, and they're like, "Good job not eating bread, buddy. Way to stop eating bread. Did your friend make you cheesecake and you had to say no to it? Good job, bud." I actually have done a great job with the celiac stuff. I mean, they're like, "Do you ever cheat?" It's like, no, I shit my brains out if I cheat. Like, I feel miserable for days. Like, it's not worth cheating. It sucks. The food looks good, but I don't want to eat it because, I mean, that part's easier. The part that sucks is going out to restaurants and, like, I have to, like, interrogate the poor waiter. Like, tell me when the last time is you put mozzarella sticks in with the French fries. Got to go in there and, like, look at the fryer with a fucking flashlight. That's been the rough part. But, look, the point is I'm getting the celiac stuff taken care of, all right? I'm being responsible, all that other stuff. Look, enough of this. I want to, I kind of want to pause the podcast for a little bit See if Liz wants to come up and do the voicemail. Nah, she doesn't. I don't think she's going to want to do it. I'll just do the voicemails by myself. Sorry, guys. I thought Liz was going to join me for the show, but I don't think it's going to happen. But let's listen to some voicemails. I got a bunch. Thank you guys for calling in. It's awesome. Again, if you would like to call into the show, you can anytime, because I'm not going to listen to it live. But just leave me a voicemail. Number's 323-716-6072 to leave a voicemail for bringing the backups. Bring in the backups voicemail. Who is this?
Hey there, bringing the backups. It's me, two-time Pro Bowler and one-time Super Bowl champion Brad Johnson. And I'm just calling in to say what a fan I am of the show. And Eric, I have to ask for your expertise opinion. Who's the bigger badass that has unexpectedly won a Super Bowl, me or Trent fucking Dilfer? Let me know, brother. Keep up the great work. Johnson out. Captain check down. 3rd and 10. I'm taking a knee.
All right, I guess that's a reference to Brad Johnson being a very conservative quarterback. You know, you ran the West Coast to a T. Thanks for calling in, Brad. So who is a bigger badass, Brad Johnson or Trent Dilfer? I'm going to go Dilfer just because Dilfer winning the Super Bowl is pretty close to me winning the Super Bowl. Like, he has that level. I mean, he was pretty wretched as a corner. I mean, they would literally throw the ball like 12 times when he was on when the Ravens went on their run. But here's the thing, man. Who gives a fuck? They won. I've said this so many times on the show. I'm not going to get into the Nick Foles thing again. I probably will. But when a guy wins a Super Bowl, that's his team. And I know it's like not the whole team stays after the Super Bowl, but the quarterback has to stay. It really doesn't matter who the quarterback. It could have been the water boy throwing spirals out there, just throwing a screen pass, letting your defense win every game for you, 2-0. It doesn't matter. You do not replace the quarterback. That is your guy. You can't do it. Oh, you know what?
Can't do it.
There we go. That's what I don't know what I was thinking. I said the words "can't do it" when I have
Can't do it.
actually queued up. That is very bad. I'm getting better at the buttons. Okay. Yeah, but I'm gonna go Trent Dilfer as a bigger badass. I mean, Brad Johnson was brought in with like multiple picks to win that Super Bowl for the Bucs. And remember, I did an episode on Sean King. Sean King got fucked. But I can't be outraged for him because I've already done that episode. So, this episode is about Blake Bortles, which we will get to. But as far as that question goes, I'm Trent Dilfer all the way.
Hey, Eric, your number one stalker here. I really enjoy the show. It really helped me get through COVID, and that's no joke. Just really appreciate the show, man. It's a great idea, great concept. If you're ever in the Boston area performing again, I'll come out and see you. Just really appreciate the show, and keep it up. Thanks.
All right. That's a very nice, heartfelt message. I don't know who left it because they didn't say their name at the top. Guys, say your name at the top when you call into the show. 323-716-6072. But one of my fans in Boston, I'm guessing they did not make it out when I was there for the Boston Comedy Festival a few months back. But yeah, I will definitely be back in Boston because just doing that festival made a bunch of friends who produce shows around town. I couldn't really do it while I was there the first time, but they've all been like, the next time you're back. So yeah, for sure. Boston might be like a week-long stay the next time I go because I love the town. Even cold towns, it's nice when you're in LA to I'm going to wear a jacket for a week. So yeah, I'll definitely be back. And whoever you are, again, say your name at the top of the messages. Yeah, come on out and, I'll buy you a beer afterwards. Thanks for listening to the show, by the way. Let's get to our next voicemail.
Hey, Eric. My name is Jack Panagruel, first-time caller, long-time listener. I'm calling out of Antioch, California, where I'm a running back coach at Antioch High School. Go Panthers. Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers was a former player of mine. God, fucking loved to see him. I love seeing him in the playoffs, but, I hated to see him bounce so early. Anywho, big fan of the Niners, long-time fan. I was there for the catch when I was only 12 years old. It was amazing. I've never seen the city so electrified. So my question is very simple. Why does time seem to flow only in one direction? Do you think it's a phenomenological flaw of three-dimensional corporeal beings, or do you think it's an inherent feature delicately woven in the fabric of space itself? Thank you.
All right, thanks for the call, Jack. So why is... I mean, we experience time linearly. I mean, I could start going into the Matthew McConaughey True Detective. It's circle. But I'm not going to do that. I will say we don't really know what happens in universes outside of our own. So is it woven into the fabric of time itself? Maybe. If this universe, this galaxy is the same as every other galaxy, then sure. But who's to say it isn't? And who's to say there's not other places in the universe where it doesn't move linearly? And I don't know. I even say in this universe, I mean, I'm guessing that's how it is. But, you know, we all just walk on this one planet and say that everything that happens here is the way it's got to be. But it might not be. So I don't know. I don't know enough. That's a very intelligent question. I didn't think it was going there. But, you know, wish you the best at Antioch High School. Keep those running backs moving. And thanks for listening to the show, Jack.
Hey, Eric, this is Becky. I wanted to know, on a chilly Super Bowl Sunday, what do you prefer, hot cocoa or hot cider?
I think Becky got a little bashful there at the end of her question. I don't know why you're laughing at the phrase hot cider. I would go cocoa over cider. I like cinnamon. It's because cider's got cinnamon in it, right? It's like a little cinnamony. I don't like hot drinks that much, but if I'm going to have a hot drink, I feel like hot cocoa I would probably go with more just because, I don't know, because I like those little, like if you can get the little marshmallows, like the Swiss mix, is that what it is? Swiss miss? You know the one where they got the little marshmallows and they kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Let me say this. If the hot cocoa doesn't have marshmallows.
Can't do it.
All right.
Hey, this is Bill from New York. I'm calling because I have a question. When you decide whether to pick a quarterback, what's the process that you use in picking that quarterback? Why is every quarterback you pick someone I've never heard of?
All right, Will, I guess thanks for listening to the show. The whole point of the show is that, I pick backup quarterbacks, so that's kind of like the niche. So you haven't heard of them because I'm picking guys you haven't heard of because they got fucked by, the chance and the gods of football have rained misfortune upon them. So, this show pays them the due that they're deserved, which is why we're going to be talking Blake Bortles a little bit later. But thanks for calling in, Will. All right, who do we got next here?
Hey, it's Liz, your wife. When you get off work, can you take a look at this mole on my butt? I can't really reach it or see it. So if you could just give her a look and let me know if I need to make an appointment with my dermatologist, that'd be great. Also, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Okay, well, my wife does not understand that this is not my voicemail. I guess she does because she left a personal message, but then asked me a question for the podcast. So, we need to get on the same page with this bit. Yeah, who do I think is going to win the Super Bowl? Oh, boy. I mean, I'd love for the Bengals. There's stories. I feel like there's rootable guys on both sides. I feel like the Bengals have got to have the momentum right now. They've won on the road against the 1 and the 2 seed in the AFC. I feel like that's momentum. I know every team in the Super Bowl is on a roll, but come on. I would go with the Bengals just on momentum, but if Stafford wins, I'm cool with that too. But I'm going with Cincinnati. I'm rolling with the Tigers. All right, let's get to. We really do have a lot. Who's next? Fuck, who's next? Did I do this one? All right, here's another one.
Tis I, the NFL Riddler again.
Oh fuck! Come on.
Question for you, Eric. What do the numbers 49 represent in the 49ers name?
This is
What does the number 49 represent
he wants me to answer now.
in the 49ers name?
Okay, I'm gonna guess that it's
Is that right, Eric?
a prospector, like somebody that came to find
That is
gold.
incorrect. 49 represents the number of average felonies that each NFL player has. Try again.
Great. Well, the NFL Riddler got me on that one. Is that gonna be? Is that gonna be a recurring bit on this voicemail? This is what happens when you spend 8 years being a fucking improviser. Is you have a lot of these calls coming in. Okay, now we got a couple more.
Hey, Eric, it's me, Joe Namath. I wanted to call and talk to you about quarterbacks, and I just wanted to say that, Eric, I really want to kiss you.
Oh my!
I just want to kiss you, Eric. It's Joe Namath here. I just want to kiss you.
This is
so
sad.
would you kiss me?
No. Yeah. Hi. This is a voicemail. Okay, so that was Joe Namath. He seems to still be kind of in a rough way there, but no, I will not kiss Joe Namath. Couple more calls.
Hey, this is Tom from Fort Lauderdale. What do you think the 49ers are going to do with Jimmy G? All right, love the show. Bye.
All right, well, he's gone. Thanks, Tom, for calling in. Jimmy G's gone. They're obviously going to go Trey Lance. They just put too much. I think they have too much in him, and Jimmy G just hasn't. If Jimmy G had made the Super Bowl, I don't think you can move on from him. You make 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, I just don't think you can do that. But the fact that he didn't look great in the second half, yeah, I think they can. That's enough to like salve the souls of the people that still like him on that team, and the team will go, yeah, we're gonna rally around Lance now. So Jimmy G's gone for sure. I don't know where he goes. I mean, I'm sure he's a starter next year. I mean, there's going to be teams that need quarterbacks. Vikings. God, who else? Saints come to mind. I mean, that would be hilarious if the Bucks get him. And Jenny still ends up replacing Brady after all of it. I don't think that'll happen though. I mean, I'm fingers crossed the Bucks ride the Gabbert train straight into hell. I mean, this is called bringing the backups. All right, with that, this is going way too long. Let's do I had one more on here.
Hey, it's me, Joe Namath again. I just wanted to call and apologize. I really made a fool out of myself again, and I just wanted to say that, Eric, I just really want to kiss you.
Okay,
I just want to kiss
Joe.
you. It's me, Joe Namath, and I want to kiss. Just give me a kiss. Hello?
He keeps forgetting that he called at the end of the call. Listen, Joe, I can't kiss you. I mean, look, Joe.
Can't do it.
I can't do it. Anyway, that's the voicemail portion of the show. Bring in the backups voicemail. Who is this? All right, into Blake Bortles we go. Only 2 fucking real people called the whole show. I don't even know if Tom from Fort Lauderdale was real. I think that one guy from Boston was the only legit call, and then everybody else is fucking around with the voicemail. Please call in with real football questions. I know there's fans out there, not just my friends trying to fuck with me. But the number again, 323-716-6072. I guess thanks to everybody that called in. But for real, let's get some actual human beings on the next version of this. It's a good time though. I don't know. Like I said, improv is those are good times. Those are good buddies of mine. Okay, Blake Bortles. Look, Blake Bortles, what was the thing they said about him in Jack? He had that great season in 2015, right? That was like where he put up, it was over 30 touchdowns. I'm not going to look at the numbers right here. He gets drafted in 2014 by the Jags. And first thing is like, look at the people that he got drafted with that season. I mean, he was easily, look, you got Derek Carr. Okay, he's fine. You got Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, he's better than Bortles, but like lower tier starter, I think is fair to say. And then after Bortles, listen to this list. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, journeyman. Okay, almost lost his knee, just walking. So, A.J. McCarron, have not heard from him. Tom Savage, I don't think he's in the league. David Fales, he's close to Foles. If he was changed the A to an O, you got something there. Garrett Gilbert played all right with the Redskins that one game last year, but, he sucks. Manziel was that year. Zach Mettenberger did not work out. Aaron Murray, don't think so. Taj Boyd, Keith Wenning, Logan Thomas. Come on. This is a pretty shitty class, but Bortles is about 3 on there. I'd put him at 3 for his draft class. So anyway, that's not the point. He gets drafted. He has like a pretty good season. I think it was 2015 where he throws a bunch of touchdowns, 35 touchdowns, 18 picks. He's got a quarterback rating of 88.2. It was the best he ever posted in his career. But people said this is garbage time. This is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. And then in 2016, numbers take a little dip. 2017, he starts out slow, picks up at the end, and the Jags go all the way to the conference championship, almost beat the Pats. And listen to his numbers in 2017 in the playoffs. 3 games started, completes 57% of his passes. Throws 3 touchdowns, no picks, rating of 91. Bro, I'm sorry. How does this guy not have like a solid backup job? Well, I think it's because his name is Blake Bortles and it's 2 consonants, B, Blake Bortles, and bad also starts with B, and people just think it's funny. Like, his name sounds like he should suck, and that is why people think he sucks. But you can tell me this guy isn't better than like half the guys backing up other people in the league right now? He is. And with playoff experience like this, he started every game 2015, 2016, 2017. 3 seasons, started all of them. He's got 73 career starts. That's valuable. I always said the same thing about Sean King. I don't know why I'm going back to Sean King on this podcast. But when you have that experience, money can't buy that. That's not true. It can. But my point is, I don't know why this guy gets shit on so much. Just because The Good Place had a joke about it. Fuck The Good Place. That show got way too preachy. I don't want to bury the lead, okay? The Good Place was overrated. Seriously, by like the 4th season, I'm like, okay, we get it. We should all try to be good. Fuck. Christ, what is this, a fucking philosophy class? Anyway, Bortles. By the way, in the UCF, University of Central Florida Hall of Fame for his 3 seasons at quarterback there, he left his senior season. But it was 2012, 2013. The team went 22-5 in Bortles' starts. They beat number 5 Baylor in the Fiesta Bowl, I want to say. I think it was the Fiesta Bowl. Bortles played his ass off. He earned that draft. Well, he got picked 3rd overall by the Jags in 2014. And it's a cool story, too, because I think he went to high school in Florida. Then he played at UCF, and then he got drafted by Jacksonville. It really does suck that it didn't work out at that first stop for him. But, like, what? Were we pretending it's a good team? It's not a good team. By the way, after that 2017 season, I find this so fascinating. Like, people have been shitting on him. They go to the championship game. They sign him to a 3-year deal. The next season, they go 3-1 with him as starter, and then he starts to struggle, goes 0-8, and they bench him and cut him the next season. And you're like, bro, you just gave him $54 million. It's one of the craziest contract extensions ever. To extend somebody and then basically be done with them 11 games later. And remember, the first 4 games, they played well. He was playing well. He really started to struggle like mid-season. But it was just weird. I think they were just done with them. But again, I cannot understand why they would have given him that money. And I will say this, watching Bortles highlights, because I did watch some Bortles highlights. I watched that Pats game in 2018. I think it was week 2. He threw a shit ton of touchdowns, and he was like barreling over people for first downs. I mean, he just played a baller game, and it was a revenge game for the championship game in 2017. Bortles looked good in multiple times for the Jags. We say garbage time or the defense was good, but the bottom line is it's not like he sucked the whole time. The team sucked basically the whole time, with the exception of one season. So it's like people hate on him, but like, I don't know. What are the ingredients I'm making the stew with? Everything's expired. Oh, sorry, the soup tastes bad. This guy got fucked. Still, that said, 6 comebacks, 8 game-winning drives in his career. I mentioned UCF Hall of Fame. In college, he was absolutely sick. I want to say the Jags uniforms, they gotta. There's not enough teal. I mean, your teal and gold, those are cool colors, but like, they got none now. I mean, I think of the old Fred Taylor, Mark Brunell, those teal uniforms with the gray, like, I guess, rim on the sleeve. Those look badass. But now they're like all black. They're trying to be like the Raiders, but you're not. You play in Jacksonville with you're the Jaguars. Like, you're a Jaguar with a blue tongue. That's what you are. You have to lean into your bad colors. When is Florida going to get it through your head? You're not cool. Like, the Marlins are trying to be cool. The Bucks are trying to be. It's like, you're not cool. You're Florida. You're cheap. You're for old people. You're like fucking Disneyland or Disney World, whatever. You're a place for old people to go and die. Have ugly colors. All your teams have ugly colors. Teal gold. Miami Marlins, same deal. They're like, Derek Jeter's like, yeah, we're going to make it like a Miami nightclub. It's like, no, be the part of Miami. Don't be the cool Cuban part of Miami. Be the old fuck part of Miami. I'm talking pinstripes with teal. That's what you got to do. Florida's fucking up with their uniforms, all right? I'm not happy with it. Even the Dolphins, like, they're trying to make theirs look like sleek. Don't be sleek. Old Dolphins. John Riggins smashing your secondary with a long run Dolphins. That's you. Be you. All right, what else we got here? Oh, yeah, so then Bortles jumps around a little bit after the Jags give up on him. I mean, well, if that's their prerogative, they want to move on. By the way, they moved on with Nick Foles in 2019. I'm not going to fault them for that. I'm going to fault them for, Foles breaks a collarbone and they're like, oh, he wasn't good enough. It's like, motherfucker, he was injured. You should have given him another season. That was a mistake. But yeah, whatever. Bortles is gone. Then I want to do his, like, he's been on like 8 teams, but he's thrown 2 passes. He was on the Rams twice. I think he was on the Packers. Here, I got it in front of me. Packers. Who am I leaving out? I know he signed somewhere. Oh! Denver. And I know and now he's on the Saints. And I know he's on the Saints because I found a very cool video. I want to give a shout out to Saints Happy Hour on YouTube. You guys should follow them. Just type in Saints Happy Hour. But it was a little clickbaity. The guy admits it, whoever this guy is. But he talks about, is Bortles going to be starting for the Saints next year? And technically, you look at the injury situation with Taysom Hill. I guess the Saints are still going to try to have a linebacker at quarterback even when Peyton's gone. But Hill's injured. Winston, they don't know if he's going to be back. The other guy's Trevor Siemian, and then they signed Blake Bortles. So right now, it's a battle between Siemian and Bortles. I'll put money down on Bortles. I bet he starts if he makes the team, he'll start a game for the Saints next year. That'll be fucking awesome. I don't know how this guy is not a backup somewhere. I watched a clip of him on Pardon My Take. He is a very funny dude in real life. Very chill dude. He did this bit where he was talking about grit, and he was like, it's an acronym. Getting raunchy, something, something. I was like, oh, this guy's like a weird. He's like a weirdo. He seemed very relaxed not being the starting quarterback. He seems like he's really sinking into backup life. We got to find him a place to hang for like 4 years. I'm telling you what, Bortles has got to be a guy where like you're watching a playoff game and Mahomes goes down and you're like, oh, fuck, who's the backup? And then Bortles trots out there, and you're like, oh, fuck. And then he lights it up because he's been studying the whole time, getting Andy Reid's offense down. Chiefs, do you hear me? Out with the old, in with the new. Goodbye, Henny. Hello, Bortles. He should be, every team should want to sign him. He's been like basically not in football for 2 years or like a practice squad guy. So you can get a guy with playoff experience, an above average or like a slightly below average quarterback rating for his career. You could probably get him on the league minimum right now. Everybody should want that. You're going to go pay a backup $10 million? Fuck that. Bortles. That's what I would do. Watching his clips too, man. He had mobility, he had arm strength, he had it all. Look, I'm freeing Bortles. Okay, that's what we're doing. Hashtag free Bortles on social media. Do it, listeners. You got it. I know there's like, I've got like 15, 20 accounts on Twitter that respond to my shit regularly. I think if we can all just hashtag free Blake Bortles at once on Tuesday, we're gonna make our impact on the internet. Anyway, that's enough with Blake Bortles. I will say, I mean, look, I said I'd talk a little bit more about the playoff games I watched. They really were great. I mean, I don't know how you're not rooting for the Bengals right now, but I was watching all the old clips of the Bengals last time they made, what was it, 88 or 89 when they lost to the 49ers. But even when they won the AFC, there was like O.J. Simpson was on the field with their coach, whose name is escaping me right now. But, man, it was cool. Like I don't know, like Joe Burrow is making the Bengals cool. That's the best way to say it, man, is like you see him with those like tinted glasses he had on after the divisional round who kind of looked like Val Kilmer in Heat. I mean, he's a cool dude. The gold chain afterwards, is that real gold? I make too much money to have it not be real. I'm telling you. That's why I'm picking the Bengals, man. Like, I like Stafford. It'd be great for his legacy to win one and kind of get that Detroit monkey off his back. But Joe Burrow is just cooler than you, dude. I mean, it's that simple. Sometimes it's the intangible. Although I will say, I thought Jimmy G's intangible, that he's fucking a hot man, would help him out a little bit more in the championship. Jimmy G, man, I mean, Lucas was on the show 2 weeks ago. He was trashing Jimmy G a lot, and look, the record, what is it? They were like 35-21 with Jimmy G as a starter, and they're 8-28 without him since he signed with the team. It's like, it's hard to argue with that. Like, some guys the team just wants to play for. But, man, I mean, the team has to play for him because he makes some bad throws, dude. I mean, he really does not look like a top 20 quarterback even. But then he takes off that helmet and he's a fucking fox. I mean, look, I'm a straight dude, but like I am confident enough to say that I'm gay. No, he's good looking. I mean, is that you think that's like a subconscious thing for other men that they're like, man, I don't know, something about this guy makes me want to fight for him. And what it really is that you're like, I want to fuck him. Is that what's going on? Is that why he's 35-21 as a starter? Because he's a very good-looking man. But, man, Aaron Donald and the Rams defense in the second half did not give a shit. They smashed him. And so now he's gone. He's out. But, again, he's too attractive to not get another job in the NFL. I think he'll be fine. He's got the intangibles. That's what they always say about guys who aren't very good. Is they've got the intangibles. Anyway, the Bengals game was awesome. We got to talk about those fucking overtime rules, man. I got in a little thing with I'll find him on Twitter here. Who was talking shit? I'm not gonna say talking shit because he's one of the guys. J_J on Twitter was giving me crap for complaining about the overtime rules. But let me say something to you, J_, space, J. Also, I get what you did there. You spelled out the word space, and then it's an underscore. We got it, JJ. But it doesn't matter that only 52% of the people that win the toss win the game in overtime. First off, in the playoffs, it's 10 out of 11 teams have won when they win the toss because they're better quarterbacks, so the defenses are more exhausted. That's number one. But number two, it's like, who cares? Who cares if it's 50-50? That's not the point. The point is why would you have it so that it's ever unfair, so that one defense is gassed, can't stop the offense, and then the other team never gets the ball? Fuck that. And I hate it because it's like when you watch college football, like their overtime is awesome. One team gets the ball at the 25-yard line, then the other team gets it. And then you switch. Second team goes first team goes first. You just do that. Once you get to it's the third overtime, you got to start going for 2-point conversions. Sometimes it goes multiple overtime. Sometimes it just goes one. But you know what happens every time? Everybody gets the ball. The defense isn't as gassed because they get a break and it's a shorter field. It's a more fair representation of which team is better in those games. I'm telling you. The same way that college football, like, how can we fix the college football playoff? Do what they do in college basketball. Why are we reinventing the wheel? NFL overtime has got to get fixed. That should piss me off. And it should piss off Bills fans. I mean, Christ, they already have like a kicker that cost them a Super Bowl. Sorry, Steve Christie. I'm sure you're a good person if you're out there, but you fucked up, bro. You fucking Ray Finkled it. I think that movie is based off of Steve Christie, the Bills kicker, right? That, by the way, this is based on nothing. Me saying that Ace Ventura kicker is based off Steve Christie is just pulled straight from my asshole. There less than 0% chance that is true. I just made it up. But I do feel like it's true. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, yes, that is the fact. But the NFL playoffs were amazing. I do want to say, by the way, thank you to the gentlemen over at Opening Kickoff Podcast. All right, my friends. And I'm saying friends because they called me their friend when they introduced me on their show. Dave, Brandon, Peyton, thanks, guys. Had a great time. Go check them out. Give them a follow on Twitter. Opening Kickoff Pod. They got a fun little sports podcast over there. They're good friends. They're good buddies over there. And I also want to thank the Tower City Comedy Festival. I was supposed to be there last weekend, and then I kind of had to choose because I got into this comedy contest last minute here in L.A., and it was like one or the other. And I went with the gig that didn't require a plane ticket and a hotel room. So I had to ditch out on Tower City Comedy Festival in Paris, Texas, but I had a couple friends that were there that said amazing things about the festival. So, if you're in Paris, Texas, and you missed the Tower City Comedy Festival, fuck you. Don't do that again next year, all right? Go. And maybe I'll be there. I don't know, unless the producer is mad at me and he's like, you will never come back. He didn't seem like that when I told him, but he could have been hiding it. He could secretly be furious and feel betrayed. It'd be weird. I don't know him, but maybe he also considered us friends. I don't know. But yeah, that festival looked like a lot of fun, and hopefully I can get out there next year. I want to do more dates in Texas. With the world collapsing in on Joe Rogan right now, it's like I just think he needs his friends, and I am one of them. I need to get down there for my friend. It's for him, not for me. Oh, Christ. I'm not going to get into the Joe Rogan stuff. I'm just going to say this. If you listen to the Joe Rogan Experience and don't understand the context of the Joe Rogan Experience, then it doesn't matter if you get the vaccine or not, because you're already a dumbass. No, I don't think most people listen to that show and don't understand that it's just a guy talking without any prep. Like, that's why we like the show, because it's uninformed. It's fun. Remember fun? You just talk. You just talk, and then, like, the next week you have a different opinion. You know, it's talking shit. I don't know. I guess there's, like, he has, like, a responsibility to, he has a lot of listeners, but, like, also fuck that. He's got to become Walter Cronkite now. Boo. You know what? I saw some stat that was like adding up Joe Rogan's audience versus like every single network. Every network. Every like, yeah, I'm Tucker Carlson. I'm Anderson Cooper. All those douchebags. You add like all of their audiences up, it's half of Joe Rogan's. Do you think maybe some of it is jealousy? Could that be a little piece of this? Is that they don't like that this guy is free and does whatever the fuck he wants and crushes them? He used to put leeches on people's nutsack and like launch them into space for 8 years on NBC. That was what he got famous for. And now he's a better source of what's going on in the world than fucking news. That's how bad news is the Fear Factor dude is more trusted. So it's, to me, I'm like, yes, he says shit, but I'm not taking my medical advice from him. I'm just enjoying the show, and I like the conversations. And doesn't he get, and the other thing is, like, doesn't he get other people? He gets, like, different perspectives. Like, he had Sanjay Gupta on. Sanjay could have kicked his ass. Anyway. I'm just, you know what it is? I'm a comedian. I pretty much side with comedian. I mean, Cosby, I didn't go with him. I mean, fuck him. I don't go with comedians all the time. But Rogan's not like a moral monster. He's just like he's just a dude that drinks creatine shakes, that works out, somehow got this podcast to be insanely popular, and he just has people on. I don't know. Can't you just take it for what it's worth sometimes? Anyway, my podcast will now be canceled. It's part of defending Joe Rogan. Anyway, look, I think that's enough. I think, how long did I go? Oh, fuck. I meant to go 30 minutes. I went 51. Did I defend Blake Bortles enough? I feel like he did. I feel like he has been unfairly maligned. But I will say this. Somebody's going to give him a shot. I feel like he'll be rostered for a full season next year. And the NFL, especially with 17 games now, he's going to play. He's going to get a chance to play, whether it's like a Gardner Minshew for the Eagles this year type situation. He is going to show that he's not as bad as people say he is. I think he already showed it. To me, he's not a guy that should be out of the league yet. So, whatever, we'll find out. And let me tell you this, too. If he is out of the league, go to the fucking XFL, Blake Bortles. Or go to the United States Football League, USFL, that's opening up next year. Get rostered there and crush people. I want to see this dude with his long windmill throwing action and his plus arm speed, arm strength, and mobility. I want to see him rocking it for at least a couple more seasons. I want to see some Blake Bortles highlights. That would be awesome. I got my fingers crossed it's going to happen this year. And again, kudos to the Saints Happy Hour for posting a 12-minute will Blake Bortles start for us next year that inspired this whole episode. Because I wasn't going to do Blake Bortles until I watched this guy talking about maybe he'll be the starter. And I was like, if he is, I want to be ahead of it. So I give them credit. They put this first. Now I'm riding on their coattails. So the YouTube video had like 80 views. But that's not the point. The point is I watched it. And I was inspired. Okay, let's move on to our guest. We did have a really fun interview this week with Joe Schiappa. Now, Joe is a gentleman that I know from New York City. And this is when I first moved to when I first moved up from Virginia, Joe was one of my first teachers. He was a real inspiration to me in the early days of me doing comedy. So getting him on the pod is really cool. I honestly love his new podcast, which if you guys have not listened to him, it's not likely that you've listened to it. There's literally every single person on earth has a podcast now, but you really should check it out. It is a great show. He hosts it with Matt Hobby, who is another very funny gentleman. I think he's on Young Sheldon right now, so he's actually like a guy you would recognize from TV if you watch that show. But yeah, the show itself, pay or request, they basically like go into people's Venmo accounts and like roast their Venmo accounts. I mean, it's good. It's a solid. Here's the thing. Obviously, I respect a solid niche comedy podcast. I've got one myself. So the more specific it is, the more I'm down to have people on from it to help promote. So with that said, I'm going to kick it to the interview right now with Joe. Enjoy our chat. And the next time you hear me talking, it'll be post-Super Bowl. So we'll see. Bengals, Rams. I live in L.A. Maybe part of the city will have burned down. That'll be the second time that's happened since I've lived here. For a happier reason this time. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Enjoy the interview. And yeah, I don't have another thing to say. Yeah, there's like 30 people over here. And
you have Tom Brady on this week, right? That's a get.
Tom Brady will never be on this podcast. He's not welcome. And not because of some weird sports allegiance, because he's not the niche. Niche?
No, you're right.
Niche?
What's the niche then? What is
the
it?
niche is quarterbacks who have failed. Like that's right. They have to be failures.
You mean so you're just calling every used car lot up and down the east to west coast?
It's literally
be like, do you have a quarterback who used to play for the NFL? They're like, yep.
You know what I'm really doing?
He owns the place.
You know what I'm really doing is I'm reaching out to a lot of their wives. Like I'll find them on Instagram, and their wives are like with their kids, and like I'll see like, is that Tyler Thigpen in the background? And then I'll
You immediately click on that link that says like players. Look at the hot players' wives, or whatever that link is.
I mean,
you've seen it.
Yes, you have to, and then it could be the worst player in the world, and they're dating like a fucking 11 out of 10 always.
Yeah,
Married
I
too.
guess.
Yeah.
That's a whole. I'm sure you cover this. I'm going to be honest with you. I did watch all the football games yesterday.
You know what? I didn't.
Really?
No, because
interest?
I was no interest.
Traveling.
No, I was traveling. I had the shows on Saturday night, so I missed the two games. And then
how were the crowds?
They were great. It was sold out. 2 shows.
Maskless?
Or
some people wore masks. I'm just curious. I have no judgment. I don't
No,
care
they wore masks walking in, but then once they sat down at their tables, COVID knows not to attack people once you have a drink in front of you. So then they
know
maskless.
it's like in Mission Impossible. They have like that laser beam around them.
Yeah.
That is invisible, and you see COVID with a can of hairspray sometimes. Doing it to show the lights, whatever.
I like the Mission. I would have done Entrapment. Remember that? Scene
that's a good one.
The
yeah,
Catherine Zeta scene
with her booties trying to get through those slim lines.
That was how they advertised the movie.
We don't see her that much anymore, huh? Well, she was a big star. Zorro, Entrapment.
I think she falls into the. I mean, it's tough for ladies once they get over 40. The industry's just like you're done.
Yeah, they put you in the trash. That's too bad.
It is.
She really had a gift. She really had a gift of acting. I don't remember how good she was.
Actually, I saw what was that movie she was in with Clooney? Intolerable Cruelty.
Oh, I like that movie.
I actually thought it was pretty good.
Many times. Yeah, I've seen it many times. Nice twist, and I think he's really good in it. I like that he kept getting his teeth cleaned. He's like obsessed with his teeth. I thought that was an interesting thing.
It was.
He was well, Eric, welcome to my show. It's great to have you.
Don't change the subject off intolerable cruelty. I mean, I think we should.
Oh, I like that movie.
Deeper
that was
dive.
A great movie.
It was good. It was
that's
good.
like the Coen brothers. They made a couple for major studios that are kind of stinkers, but they're still pretty good. Like that Hudsucker Proxy. Then they go back and they used to make a movie a year. I don't think they do it. Oh no, they have one with Denzel.
The new
Othello.
one.
Not Othello, Macbeth. Yeah,
Macbeth.
they made it Macbeth. But maybe just one of them did. I don't know.
It was just one. It was Joel. It's so good.
It was Joel.
I watched. Did you see it?
Oh, you watched it? Oh no, I
It's
really
so
want
good.
to. Macbeth is my favorite. Shakespeare. It's the one I've seen the most of for some reason. I've seen it. Bad productions and good productions, and I like the. I'd be interested in see the movie because I understand it.
Do you relate to Macbeth's greed? And not even greed. Just
my
more
wife
like
is constantly trying to get me to take over the apartment building we live in.
Really? I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
or
she
like
wants me
HOA
to-
or something.
Yeah, she wants me to be head of the board and then kick everybody out, and then we take 120 units and turn it into our own space, Jeff Bezos style.
Wow. So she's like your wife has like a real like conquer mentality.
Yeah, you've met her. You know how awful she is. So, do you think Jeff Bezos has a tastefully decorated house?
No.
Or do you think it's just shit everywhere?
I think he
Just
has.
like-
You know how people have like animal heads in their house.
You think he's
I think he has live animals coming out that are just chained in the wall.
Oh, so you like go up and you're like, hey, you shot an elephant, and then the elephant moves around. And it's like this.
Yeah, he's like found a way to keep a swordfish alive, suspended on his wall. Like that's the level of psycho.
Oh God.
And even like
I just assumed it's an escape room. Like you walk in there and then you have to solve it to get out of it.
You see
then you
the
end
thing
up
where
buying a bunch of shit you don't need from Amazon.
do you see the thing where he sent Shatner to space?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like people watch that and they're like, "Oh man, that's so cool. Like can't we all just unite behind this?" But I think it's like he did that for like his own like I'm going to send Shatner to space. He comes thinking about his ability to do insane things. I don't know.
You know why no one goes to space anymore? No one gives a shit.
Yes.
Like no one cares if you go to space. We haven't been back to the moon. You know why? We went there and there's nothing there. There's nothing to do. It doesn't move people forward. I don't know why he went to space and William Shatner no one gives a shit. No one cares. They went to space. I haven't heard anything about it. They train. It's a waste of everyone's time and effort.
I'm okay if rich guys try to go to Mars. I mean, I don't hate that. I mean, it's their money. I mean, they're not going to give it to like build wells in impoverished countries. So I guess just go waste it in space. That's fine with me.
We saw Total Recall. We know there's nothing up there on Mars. And if you go there, you're just going to end up getting beat up or accosted by Sharon Stone. I forgot the rest of the movie, but
something like that. I know a guy's eyes get big and then
he's like
yeah. That's fun.
I like that. I like early 90s special effects for that reason. Just like it's all practical, like they had to build it, like it's not CGI.
That's what I like the first Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh my God, a classic. I've seen that so many times.
And it's made so much better by the fact that it's tiny men in turtle costumes.
Have you ever seen, like, I think you could look it up on YouTube, but there is like how the Jim Henson workshop made it and like all the servers and like it's really interesting.
Well, yeah, I watched like it was like a whatever,
like
how you make it. Yeah. And everybody was like, it was miserable to make because it's the costumes are horrible and you can't move or see or breathe and they're doing karate.
I mean, yeah, they're doing karate, but
they're doing pretty cool moves. I mean, they're doing
true.
the splits and shit.
He puts himself up underneath the turtle shell, and then the guy goes over and goes back up.
It's such a great, and it's like a superhero movie before they knew how to make those. You know, like they're all.
Oh yeah, they weren't into world building. They were like, here's these weird creatures with a bunch of corny jokes in it.
Yeah, like here's the like it starts with the pizza going into the sewer, and it just never gets more. It never makes more sense than that the whole time. And I love that there's a part where they're meditating in a fire and their rat.
They see Splinter comes to them.
And then do you remember the scene where they're sketching like the dead turtle in the in the bathtub? Like that whole farmhouse sequence that they have is
So
one of my
weird.
favorite
Clearly,
things in a
they could
movie.
not afford. They shot it in South Carolina, I guess, on like a set, and then it was so low budget. They were like, they had to write it in that house because they couldn't do more like action scenes. Like it's supposed to be in New York, but those are the worst. New York doesn't have any alleys or any of that shit. Like
No.
when the guy's like, the pizza place is like 34 and a half, like it's some address that doesn't exist. And yeah, I mean, it was made for cheap, and it was like it was an independent movie. They made it without money, and then New Line at the time only had made what's Freddy. That was their big movie. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made them put them on the map. But now you watch it now, like the second one's terrible. Do you see this? You've seen
All
Blues,
of it.
right?
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a good one since the first one.
My son liked, and we watched it a couple times, the Megan Fox one, the second one they made with Megan Fox.
Oh, is that one good?
I mean, it's not awful.
It's not. It'll never be. I mean, we just sound like snobs being like the first one, but the first one really does do something that I don't think any of the other ones can capture.
Yeah, and also I saw it like we waited in line and we saw it like the first weekend, and then I saw it again. It was kind of mind blowing. I just hadn't seen. I think Howard the Duck kind of was like that, or they made a couple like creature type of those movies. E.T., I guess they're all kind of E.T., but that was the first one where I was like, oh, that's amazing. I just thought it was an amazing movie.
I also, I don't know. I wonder if it's PG-13 because I remember at the end, oh my God, what the hockey guy? I can't remember his name, and I watched.
Casey Jones.
Casey Jones murders him. He falls into the thing, and he just goes, "Oops!" and he crushes him to death. And you're
then his hand comes out at the end.
No, but then his hand goes. You're thinking of of the ooze. That's the second one.
Oh, that's the second one. But Shredder's in the second one, no?
Yeah, I don't think they worry about it making sense. He's straight up.
Well, they
murdered.
were like, they made the second one so quick, like it came out the next year. How would you? They just made it so quickly. They were like, yeah, we got the costumes. Let's just keep it going. Then they made Rocksteady and Bebop aren't in it, but there's like two other ones that they kind of make it like that. I don't know. There's two other cartoon costumes. I mean, some of them are so bad. Some of the creatures are so bad in those movies. Like it's almost like the Power Rangers when they bring out like a rubber costume, and the mouths don't even move. They just voice over the thing.
I always like I was always a big fan of the putties. You remember that, like Rita would bake them in like a toaster oven, and then they would come down to Earth.
Power Rangers?
Yeah, and they had their big circle.
That's after my time.
They had a circle in the center of their chest where you could punch them in there, and they would just disappear.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like the world of it. I mean, I've watched just the modern Power Rangers, and it's as garbagey. It's like, I don't know. Kids like it. My son seems to like it. He likes all that.
I was gonna say, how old's your son now?
He's 6, so he's like the target. He likes anything with that has ninja in it. He talks about being a ninja. He loves ninjas. So, Pokemon.
Are you gonna support that ninja habit?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I make him stick to the shadows as much as I can. I mean, I make him hide in a tree a lot, surprise people. I mean, I'm just encouraging. It's all you can do is encourage. You never know where they'll go. Maybe he'll be a Shogun. I don't know, but he's a ninja through and through, definitely. Eric, how's everything in Los Angeles?
It's fine. You know, it's like there's a weird.
What's the vibe?
The vibe is stay in your house and be miserable. I mean, that's honestly how
really? People aren't out and like you. I feel like with the weather, you'd be out and taking walks and doing stuff.
I mean, I do that. Like
CrossFit.
I try to get out. I mean, I still do. Like we were talking about, I've been on the road a couple times, and
that's exciting for you. I'm excited and proud that you're doing that.
Thanks, man.
Because I think that's a big step, is to get gigs and open for people, and everybody does it, and it's like the one step closer to, opening, featuring yourself.
It's just like anytime they're paying, and anytime I get paid doing comedy, it still is at the point where it feels like someone's made a mistake, because I've spent so long paying to do it.
That'll never end.
Yeah,
I've gotten paid for things that I'm like, I can't. You're right. You spend so much time doing it for free or paying people to do it. And you'll always have to pay to do it in some way, either drive yourself somewhere, do something unless but it does feel like there is a mistake, I think, a lot of the time. But I don't think so. I mean, you work so hard, you do shows all the time, you work on your craft. Who'd you open for? Who was the...
So I was opening for a guy named...
Louis C.K.?
Yeah.
Louis C.K.?
You'd
open for Louis C.K., be honest.
I'm a big Louis fan post Me Too.
You only like his work he's done now.
Yeah, I didn't know him beforehand, but
show.
once I read that article, I was like, "When's this guy coming back?" I would totally open for him.
You started with the article about him. So you're like, I gotta.
This is a true story. When I was in New York, that Louis story came out, and at the time he worked on my floor. I worked at some company. And I guess his...
he had like an editing suite there or something? Or?
Yeah, whatever it was. Like his...
Or it was just a closet that he...
It was his Pig Newton, which I don't think exists anymore, but that was like his production company, was the room next to us. And
where was that? Where was it?
It was in Soho. It was in Soho somewhere.
Oh, it was in Soho. Okay, downtown.
It was funny because it's like, I think about it now. I worked at this company. I won't say the name of it, but it was like a financial app. And we had a little space.
Venmo. You worked at Venmo. You worked at PayPal.
Oh, Venmo. I mean, that would be a nice little tie into what you're working on.
Yeah, it
now.
would be. And God, that's disgusting. I even brought it up. Go ahead.
I would have, if we were 3 minutes longer in this, I would have used that into the transition.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I worked at this financial app, and we had a space in the WeWork building, and it was tiny. And they're like, we need a big space. And so they got this huge like loft in Soho. I mean, who knows how much they were paying for it, but you could have had 100 employees in there. And I think about 2 months in, they realized they could just work remotely. And they had this weird policy where it was the company had only been around for a few months, but I was hired after the first wave of people. So they had a week of seniority on me. So they all worked remotely, and I had to come into the office. But I would come into the office.
And this is pre-COVID, right?
I mean, pre-COVID, yeah. This is before I moved to LA. It's like 2017.
Right.
And I would come in on a Monday. There's this huge space. I'd be the only person in there, and I'd be the only person to come into work for the entire workday. And
why even have you come? Just get rid of the space.
I just remember being like, I wonder how many buildings are filled up downtown that don't need to be, like that companies can now work remote. And
well,
now
we know the answer
COVID,
to that now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all I always think back to, like the wasted money from that shitty company I work for.
Do you think knowing you're so smart about because we've talked kind of about this stuff, but do you think that like New York like offices was just like a weird pyramid scheme in itself? Like they kept people there and then they realized they don't, like even the real estate, like it was more about making the case that you needed to be in a cool space rather than even needing it. Because I think all these places are still 2 years later, it's all still empty. Who's paying the rent on? You know what I'm saying? Like I wonder why is it not collapsed?
I'll tell you, it's the same. Like when people talk about the Walgreens in Times Square, and they're like, "How much does that rent?" Well, you're paying for the fact that you're there. It's that.
Right.
It's that, but the entire island. That's all Manhattan is. Is like,
no, that makes
why
sense.
would you ever have your office there? Like, there's no reason except for getting to say, we have our Manhattan office. You mean? Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Let me forward you to our Manhattan office.
Well, now it'd be amazing to. Have you ever seen old pictures of New York where it was like all fields uptown and stuff like that? You ever see things like? I mean, it's so interesting, but it'd be amazing to tear all the buildings down again and just do that again. Like just make it smaller. Everybody just goes. Everybody kind of shares offices to have their meetings when they need to. I don't know. We'll never do it because we're insane. It's a capitalist society. But
is this where we start talking about communism? No.
I think capitalism needs to work for us. So
Yang Gang.
Who do you open for again? I'm so sorry. I think that's
his name was Bent Washburn.
Okay.
He's done Conan did Conan a bunch. Now he lives in Germany.
And he just comes to the U.S. to do shows.
He just comes to the U.S. to do shows.
And why did he pick you, or someone said have Eric?
My buddy did. So they run this show. It's like right outside of Idaho University, and I guess the guy there produces this quarterly show. And my friend did it 3 months ago, and I saw photos. I was like, that looks fun. And I said, fuck it. And I emailed him and was like, can you send me the contact information for that show? I want to do it. And he did, and I think he vouched for me pretty hard because they booked me without even looking at my tape.
Wow. That's
yeah,
great.
I mean, maybe they Googled me and found it, but yeah, it was really. I mean, I have to get better at doing that, where it's like I know people now where I could ask those favors, and I'm always like, it puts me in a weird spot to act, and you just have to go. Whatever.
But now you'll do that for your buddy now. Like if he asks,
and I already did. I already did.
Yeah.
I sent him a couple. I sent him a couple people that I know because I know people on the East Coast where my family lives. And so now when he does his East Coast thing, he's going to have people to reach out to. That is what it is somebody has to, what's the old phrase? It's not who you know, it's who knows you. Someone's got to know you.
I've never heard that phrase, but yeah. I know it's not who you know, it's
that
whom
was
you
what
know.
That was what Teddy Roosevelt said when he was inaugurated. He said it's not
really?
Who you no.
He's like, I know the Roosevelts.
Who was the guy that got shot? There was a president that got shot during a speech.
William Tyler.
Was it him?
Yeah, I think he died of. Didn't he die like 3 weeks into his presidency?
No, I want to say this was Teddy Roosevelt was giving like a speech on the back of a locomotive, and some guy shot him, and I guess he had been shot enough to know that he wasn't going to die from it. So the crowd started to lynch the shooter, and he said, "No, take him to jail." He gets his trial, and then he finished his speech.
How do you know if
he lived the rest of his life with a
being
bullet?
Shot?
I think maybe who knows? I mean, I don't think his logic was medically sound.
He was like, no, this has happened to me before. I'll get through it.
I'll
get through it. It's like having the flu. You know, you just kind of power through.
I think they were a different breed of people back then. You know, you watch The Revenant for 5 seconds, and you're like, yep, I just can't even imagine.
Weren't bullets slower then? Like they shot it, and then you kind of had time to move, right?
Well, slower loading them. It takes like 50 seconds to get one.
Like I like the idea that he was giving the speech, and he saw the guy, but the guy took like another 10. He's like, by the time I'm done, he's like timing it in his head. He's like, by the time I'm done, this guy's not gonna have that loaded.
I think it was also they're not very accurate. The old guns.
People aren't accurate. No.
I almost.
Go ahead.
I almost shot some Civil War guns on last Tuesday. My dad was visiting, and so there's a place in Burbank where you can pay somebody to go shoot at the mountains. And I was like, my dad would love that, but then they couldn't make it work with my work schedule, so we just watched Netflix instead.
I mean, do you talk about this in the podcast? Where do you work?
I have a day job. I work for a company that helps like general contractors and interior designers. It's like for home professionals.
Great.
What?
I thought you were going to say Civil War.
I thought
you were going to say, you're like, it helps Civil War reenactors connect with other Civil War reenactors.
I'm a Civil War reenactor, yes.
Oh my God, that'd be an amazing job. You'd be perfect for it. Because in the middle of it, you'd be like, I got a set tonight. I got to get going.
Yeah, I could do.
You do a lot of jokes. You do all your Civil War humor there.
Yeah, I go to the show and then I'm accidentally still in character, talking like Robert E. Lee, and
You're like, oh God, I cannot leave my day job at my.
I was talking to my wife the other day about what shows we watch on Netflix.
That's also your Southern lawyer character, which is funny.
You know, they all inform one another. They dance together.
Yeah. Are you still into doing you still like comedy? Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
man.
Is
still your obsession?
I can't.
That's good.
I can't, you
think about it all the time. You can't turn it off, really. You're always coming up with stuff.
I'm
right?
like everybody else. I love it. I get to a point with the business where you're just trying to make it work, and you're like, man, maybe I could quit. I'd be good at this other job I'm doing. Like, I'd make more money. I'd be less stressed.
Sure.
And when I talk to my therapist and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough for my career. And she's like, well, you have another full-time job. So you are technically, if you're doing comedy full-time and your other job, that's 80 hours. Like, it's just the math is that you're always going to feel like you're not doing enough.
Right. But how much can you do? That's in your control, I guess. Like, you can do as much in your control as you can, which is you write material and you go in front of as many people as possible to do it. I also feel like you did a very smart thing, which is instead of being like, I'm going to commit to this improv thing for as long as I can.
I still stayed too long, but I did get out.
There's no such thing. You quit when you can. And then you decide to do stand-up, which is everybody understands much easier.
I definitely thought I could make improv work, but I mean, even just the last 2 years, I mean, it's crazy to say during COVID, but it really even was during COVID. The path for how to make money doing stand-up is much clearer. And like,
well,
and,
it also
and
makes more sense to, like, okay, you start at this club and then you get good and someone sees you, then you go to this club. Like, there's probably an overlap of club type stuff, right? Where like someone who does this club also does this club, and then you kind of follow suit. Like, it seems,
yeah,
you know, you do a bunch of Just for Laughs, and then the fifth time they bring you up to Montreal. You know, I think there's probably a straighter line rather than, I don't know, what improv doesn't even exist really anymore.
No, it's one of
the tools you learned.
one of COVID's. We've talked a lot about loss during COVID in society, but not enough about improv theaters eating shit, because that really was the tragedy, I thought.
People really wanted to get going again. Some people are really missing it, but I think that, I don't think people will come out the same way. Although I wonder, after it's all over, I think people will want to go see stuff. So maybe it's an opportunity to do shows.
We'll see.
I mean, what's better than stand up in the sense that you control your own self? You could show up in a backyard show or do a show in a club. Like, all you need is a mic, right? And you write your own material.
It is I contend it's like the purest form of comedy, because it's, you can't fuck with it. Like, no one can talk against it when it's good. There's really nothing to say other than like, yeah, that was good. Versus there's a lot of other forms, like whether it's improv where you have to like explain what's happening to the audience in the context, or sketch where it's not all there's so many hands in it. Like, how much credit do you really get for when something really looks good at the end? Like with stand-up, it's like you own the highs, you own the lows. Like, there's no
it's pure.
It's not shared.
Pure you. Yeah.
And
I that's interesting, because I don't mind sharing. I like being collaborative, but I think that some people don't. I think, when I had stand-ups in improv class, they were the hardest ones to kind of get, because they were so used to doing it by themselves.
I felt the same way. I don't know if my audience knows that I used to teach improv, but I did, and it was the same thing. The best people in improv classes were always people who were not performers. They were the most fun.
Oh,
because you'd be like
most fun, and usually people who, like in sales or something where they're kind of performative. I had a lawyer once that was super funny. I think people are funny. What always made me laugh, and I don't know if you found this in an improv class, where people were just being human and not trying to be funny. Like, people automatically were funny. I liked it when people tanked, because that was funny to me, because they were just funny, even just tanking. Like, what people thought was funny. Like, when the people were just being themselves, I thought that was funny. Although, they thought they were not doing well. I thought that was entertaining enough. It's when people were trying to be funny that was never funny.
I remember it's a weird scene to remember, and I don't know if this will translate to podcast, but I was coaching a guy. He was in an improv class, and he kept trying to be funny. I was like, just stop. Just do the object work. Stop. Just be in the moment. Don't try to be funny. You're not funny. Like, I was getting mad at him. I think he was getting mad. And so I was like, just nobody talk for 30 seconds. And so he was like, they were silently making sandwiches, and the wife,
classic scene.
The wife goes, after 30 seconds, goes like, where's the peanut butter? And he goes, I put it right there. And he like points to nothing. But he was so mad. He was still mad at me.
Yeah.
But the fury where he pointed to nothing, naming it peanut butter. I mean, at the class, we laughed for like 5 minutes, like tears streaming down everybody's face. It was so. I mean, I always say the part that I miss from those years, performing was great, and I made a lot of friends doing it. But I had the best time teaching. And
teaching was
doing grad shows and watching people people would come up after and be like, my wife says I'm a better listener now. Like, shit that like means so much more than all of us trying to find a way to make careers out of playing patty cakes with each other. I mean, it was great.
I think a lot of people I've seen it had like life-changing, not that they like left their job or anything, but like they had life-changing where they found they could do something they thought they couldn't, which I think is unbelievable. I mean, to be an adult and to think, you're the fun is beaten out of you by how we teach people stuff in school and everything, and then for you to rediscover that as an adult, I think is great.
Well, you were my teacher. For
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, for sketch, and then I made you
work
with that horrible lady. That horrible. I still feel bad about that. I think I had more problems with the sketch. People really were babies in the sketch. Improv, they were so much easier to do.
Yeah.
The sketch, people were such babies about getting feedback or being in the show. I don't miss really doing that. But yes, you were great. You were great in the class. I've always said that.
No, I know. No, my point was going to be that I thought you were a great teacher. Like you really.
Oh.
I have a couple people when I started that like made me think I could do comedy. And even though I'm not really, I guess I still write sketches and stuff, but like I think about you, I think about Kevin Scott, and these are people that, you met me when I was early 20s. So
yeah, I must know you 15 years by now, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I must have met you. I met my wife in 2007. Were you in New York City in 2007?
No, I moved in 2008. No, I moved in 2007. It was before
I think
Obama.
I met you.
It was before what? It was before Obama. It was like a year before Obama.
Oh, must have been. I mean, you've in just your influence, you've many times were the only person in the audience for my shows.
I've brought dates to your shows. Yeah.
Yeah, many times. So I would say, I appreciate you, and I appreciate keeping up with you. The other day was I had, Mitch Lucas is a great graphic designer. I had him put together a writer's reel for me of all the stuff I've done in the last 10 years. You're heavily featured in the thing I did for MTV.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
You were great. You were so funny. You didn't mind that I put a ghost costume on you.
You told me I was the only one that could handle it. I remember
you
that.
Were.
You were
honestly,
like, nobody else would do
funny.
this.
Not even that funny. Like I looked at it and I was like, this is mildly, like looking back at it now, I was like, I get why no one wanted it. Like it was the most low stakes game show I possibly could have put up. It was just people talking, but you were such a good, and you came up with a good joke at the end. You're a pro. You were great. And I would never have asked anybody else to do it because I knew you could make something out of it. And I think that's,
my ego wouldn't be destroyed
or you wouldn't be like, I mean, you did say you put me in a ghost costume the whole time, but I don't think you made a meal out of it because I think that's what you do. We're all going to eat shit forever. It's just, how we
I feel like
deal with it. Not that that's eating shit, but just like how we pivot and be flexible and stuff. I think you're great at that.
What you said about making a meal out of it, I feel like De Niro in Heat. I'm like, that's the discipline.
I just taped that. I really wanted to watch that again the other day for some reason.
It's a great movie.
Oh, they're making a sequel or a prequel.
No, they're not.
They're writing a book. No, it's a book.
Okay.
Michael Mann wrote a book, and it's a prequel to and I was like, oh, I'd read that. I mean, I love a good crime fiction.
If it's anything like his movies, it's going to be brilliant and
way too long.
Way too long.
I've never seen Miami Vice. Should I watch it?
No.
Okay.
But here's what you should do because I just realized I didn't plug in my computer and the battery's running low. Talk to me, Joe, about your new podcast because I listened to the first episode and I loved it.
You're a fan of the show Young Sheldon, right?
I haven't missed an episode.
Okay. Matt Hobby, who's on Young Sheldon, and myself, Matt Hobby, another alumni of our improv theater, have started a show. We've got a lot of episodes banked already. Not that matters to the audience, but the concept is that we look at someone's Venmo, someone's funny. Maybe you'll be on, I'm sure, Venmo, and we try to decipher what the emojis or the cryptic messages they leave, like what did they actually pay for? And it's really just an excuse. We kind of like make up stories about people's Venmo, and then we have a nice discussion afterwards, and it's funny and it's dumb, and it's a fun way to, you're washing a dish or you're going for a walk. It's a fun way to spend an hour. So you can find it on Apple Podcasts. It's called Pay a Request, the social money talk show, hosted by me, Joe Schiappa, and Matt Hobby. So you should check it out, and I appreciate you for having me on to plug it.
Of course, man. And for all my listeners, I listened to the first episode. Laughed a bunch. It was really funny.
Do you know Bailey?
I don't.
Like she was a student of mine, and she was one student talking about who I just cried laughing, and now she's in stuff, and she was on the Eliza Schlesinger Netflix sketch show, and she's great. But I appreciate you listening. That's great.
Yeah.
Who are your listeners? Do you know them by name, or
I know like 12 of them by name, and then
they're all named Greg?
Are there some Gregs? There's probably some Gregs.
There's some Greg, Eric, Cody. Who else?
There's some. There's a Matt. There's a Tyler. There's
Tyler.
people. There's people.
I think they would like it.
There's a lot of people in Massachusetts. I've got a decent Massachusetts following.
My sister lives in Medford. Does that hold water for anybody out there? Medford, Massachusetts, very nice town.
Is your sister a fan of my podcast? She should check it out.
I bet her husband would be. He loves football.
Well, it looks like having you on the show brings me in one more listener.
Looks like it's time to bring in the quarterbacks, and that's when the music cuts. And then
boom. Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to support us for free, there are many ways to do it. Start by subscribing on whatever platform you're currently listening on. If you're on Apple Podcasts, write a 5-star review. And if you're on YouTube, like the video and leave a comment. On ErickHellwig.com, you can subscribe to the newsletter and click the track button to follow Erick's stand-up dates and never miss a show when he's in town. To support the podcast financially, visit the merch store via Erick's website. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next show.